Peace, peace. Up, here comes Miss Priss, right in my lap. Welcome. I hope the soundtrack isn't too loud. Let me know. Let's go ahead and get the candle lit. Here we go. And get our incense lit. How is everyone? How is everyone? Welcome. So I finally took the plunge. Well, I didn't make the choice yesterday. I guess I was ready for it the day before, but I have a new kitten. Her name is Callie. Eventually, she'll make her debut. I have her in the bathroom right now, just to get her a little acclimated. And there are carpets on the floor here, and I don't want her to, piddle. So, does anyone know how to litter box train a kitten? I have no idea. I've never had to do it before. So I always like to do a daily, what is in your cup? What is in your cup? Hold on one second. Okay, so just had to get my phone and put it on silence. Phones are awesome. You can put them on silence, you can put them on block, all sorts of things. So, as some of you may know, I am an avid collector of vintage teapots and teacups. And generally, although I do collect them, and I do like to give them away as gifts. I give them away as gifts. And so that's one of my teapots. Now, I do have a teacup that sort of matches this teapot. And I was going to use it today. It had a rose on it. But then I decided, you know what? I want to use my dogwood china. There you go. And what's in my cup? Green tea. Green tea is in my cup with honey and a little bit of milk. So you can hear Callie in the background meowing a little bit. So we're about to do a learning curve here. Okay, so today we are on hexagram number 30, emotional attachment clinging. Ooh, it's fire over fire. Yesterday, I believe we were hexagram number 29, and that one was water over water. Oh, what is this? I think I just felt a flea on Nala. Is that a flea on you? Or a tick? I have to figure that one out. Okay. Where were we? I always try to waste a little bit of time. Let a little time pass so give people a chance to come onto the live stream. And I did figure out how to set the live chat. Okay, here we go. Here's a good card for us today from Don Miguel Ruiz. The Four Agreements. And this is from the chapter, Don't Make Assumptions. Be aware of unconscious Assumptions. Oh, ain't that the truth? So often unconscious assumptions happens in our day-to-day interactions with our loved ones, with people we work with, in relationships. We can have someone say something that we have issues with, but the issue we have is with our own memory and past experiences, and it may or may not have anything to do with what's being said in that moment. I know I've experienced that, and I've been on the receiving end of experiencing saying something to someone and they're interpreting it completely from their own inner dialogue and not based on the truth. So anyway, so let's read this card. Assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously, most of the time, because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. We have agreed that if people love us, they should know what we want and how we feel. So let's put that one right there. Remember that. Oh my goodness. Where was that? We have assumptions are made so fast and unconsciously most of the time because we have agreements to communicate this way. We have agreed that it is not safe to ask questions. Well, I don't agree with that. I'm a question asker. And I have noticed that there are, and I've found this especially interesting with relationships, where I've been in relationships with men, that you're having a discussion and something is being told to you that pertains to you, that pertains to the situation or what you guys are doing. And if I feel, and especially if you're talking about emotions and feelings, I tend to ask questions, because one thing that I want to not do is to make assumptions, especially on something so delicate. And sometimes it really seems like people get offended when you ask questions, because to ask a question is akin to questioning their integrity, to questioning their value. And it's like, no, I'm asking a question because I want to make sure that I'm completely understanding you and what you are attempting to convey, and not what I might unconsciously want to believe. So it's very good to ask questions. Never be afraid to ask questions. And and if you're involved with someone who gets up in arms, gets offended, gets immediately in defense of you asking basic, simple questions, especially questions for clarity, that is a major, major red flag. So you want to keep that in mind. Welcome, Laura Iverson. Welcome. Good day. I know it's very early there. Wow. I do that a lot with YouTubers, especially in the evening and even in the morning time, but especially in the evening. I enjoy listening to different YouTubers as I fall asleep at night. Priestess Offset is one. Mike Barra is another. I actually met Mike Barra back in Pasadena, 2018 at Alien Con. He was, well, I don't have cable, so I don't know, but he was a frequent guest on Ancient Aliens. There's a plethora. One day I should do a YouTube video and share all of the amazing YouTubers that I enjoy listening to. So there you go. Ask questions. And when questions are asked of you, step out of your immature ego and embrace the questions. Because remember, When a loved one is asking you questions, that means they're taking time to really truly know you rather than to run off with their assumptions of you. And I think that's a beautiful thing. So, as you see in the background, we have our Mother Mary Oracle card for today, and we are on card number 4. Thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, Nala, my lap is only so big. Okay, where are you going? Where are you going? Nala is not quite sure what to do with the new kitten. Laura, are you a cat mother? You don't have to answer that. I know you have your eyes closed. But I have this new kitten, and she's in the bathroom right now because there's rugs, large area rugs all over my little cottage, and I don't want her piddling on them. So let's read Mother Mary Oracle number 4, Our Lady of Ripening on the Vine. I ask you to surrender your future thinking to me. Although your future contains the promise of great blessings, do not let this distract you from the blessings I bestow upon you in this moment. I ask you to open your arms to my blessings in the here and now. You are the sweet fruit, heavy on the vine. The time for harvest has come. This is your time. Many of us who love the Holy Mother are dreamers. Yes, I can say that's true. I am a dreamer. We might be practical and hardworking, attending to the details of daily life and spiritual consciousness, but we have hope in our hearts. Yet that hope may be for the future, our future, that of our children, of our planet. This hope is a precious light that is needed in the world. Yet our light of hope is also needed in the here and now. We need to be living the divine now, not only dreaming of a more divinely aligned life and a fantasy of our future. The divine wants us to live our light now to benefit ourselves and the world with our presence now. Yes, we are always growing, yet there is a readiness within you now. This oracle comes to you as a confirmation. There is something within you, something of you that is ready. Even if the immediate reality does not match a fantasy that you have once held about how life would be when you would finally share more of yourself with the world, you are still ready, and this is your time to shine. So I'm not reading the entire part of that, but just wanted to share that little bit, and I figured that was a good space to end. It reminds me of Ram Dass's book, Be Here Now. You know, I turned 50 years old last October, and that was a big shock. And no, I'm not one of these people who are afraid to get older, afraid of birthdays. I celebrate birthdays. It was just a shock to me. It's like, where did the first 50 years of my life go so fast? Just in case you didn't see my teapot from before. I love my teapots. It's like, where did that time go? You know, I spent time in college. I spent time living in Daytona Beach. I've had 4 sons, raised 3 of them. Well, the third one, you know, he just turned 22, so he's still sort of in that juxtaposition between young adult and teenager, kind of, sort of, not quite. Hopefully he didn't hear this. I don't want him to feel like, but you know, just really still developing. You know, psychologists say that your brain doesn't really begin. It doesn't mature, but it doesn't begin to mature till about age 25. And for some people, it never matures. But anyway, it's like, where did the time go? And I thought to myself, what am I going to do with the next 50 years of my life? I want to live I wasn't always perfect, but I did my best to be here now, to be in the moment. But I really want more of that for the next 50 years, to just really absorb and appreciate every bit of it. So be here now. And it's wonderful to dream about the future, but it's even more wonderful to dream and enact the present and fully embody what is going on in the here and now. So today's hexagram, as you see again, is hexagram number 30, emotional attachment, clinging, fire over fire. So that's an interesting title. So let's look at this hexagram. We're going to break it down to its bagua. And the bagua are the three yaos, the three lines, and fire, which is li, radiance, eminence, innovation, and cultivation, giving light, illumination, perspicacity, clarity, rapid movement, the sun, clinging, dependent, intellect, logic. And the element, of course, is fire. The direction is south. Yellow path is cardinal summer. Loshu 9 halls, autumn equinox. Life aspect, ambition, honor, fame, reputation. Medically is eyes, small intestine, cardiovascular, autoimmune, metabolic. The chakra is the heart chakra. So right in the center of your chest, you have fire. The animal is the phoenix or the pheasant. The archetype is the general or the minister. The immortal Lu Dongbin, patron of scholars, the literati, healers, high magic, and invoked for banishing and exorcism. Laura says, oh yes, longtime cat mom here. I put boxes around the house. Some have towels or packing paper to make them comfy. They like to sit in little boxes on the floor or tables to make them feel safe. And Laura, how do I litter box train a kitten? That's what I need to know. Nala came to me already litter box trained. Dawn, who had given her to me. Nala was born in a barn, and I think they got them out of the barn when they were maybe 2 weeks old. And then she was in the house for the next 6 weeks. Well, these kittens are this new kitten. Her name is Callie. And I don't know if you saw Laura, I had posted on my Facebook page a picture of Callie that I was going to get her in a few weeks. And I got her a week early. But she was born in a barn and raised in a barn up until the day I got her. I arrived home yesterday, and the landlord's daughter walked over. Your kitty is ready. You can take her. And she's like, she's not as tamed as the kittens upstairs because I held them a lot. She's more wild. And she is frisky. She's very frisky. And Nala is like intrigued and pissed all at the same time. All right, so before when you're on my live stream, sometimes a stream of consciousness when I speak, there's nothing linear about me, so it is what it is. Anyway, okay, so let's go to Kersong Hong. Oh, you mean Callie? Oh, yes, she's so cute. Oh my gosh, she's frisky. She's got more. I had one white cat when I was younger, growing up, 7th grade, I think, 6th, 7th grade, named China. He was white and blue eyes. He would be out all day long, traipsing up and down the neighborhood. Then at nighttime, he would come in and sleep at the top of my pillow, right at my head. Now, as a youngster, I didn't think anything of it. Now I'm thinking, oh my gosh, Could have had fleas and everything crawling in my head. Although I did find, I was with the kitten in the bathroom. Then I closed the door and I went and laid down in my bed for a little bit. And there was a flea hopping on me. So I immediately went back to the bathroom and I dusted the kitty with diatomaceous earth. I put some on the bathroom floor and then I sprinkled some around my bed. And I'm going to have to vacuum that up. Okay, so fire. Fire is what Kersan Hong, Professor Hong, named this hexagram. Auspicious omen, sign of the sacrifice. And as we see, and I've always thought this was beautiful, that the fire bagua is 3 lines, of course. It's a masculine yang line or yang line and a feminine yin line, and then a masculine yang line. And it's like a feminine sandwich. So it's like the depths within is feminine. And then on the outside, it's guarded by the masculine. Okay, so we start with the Yao on the bottom, the Bagua on the bottom, and work our way up. Gilded shoes, be respectful and be safe. A yellow wild beast, great auspicious omen. A wild beast is seen during eclipse. Clang the cymbals and sing, lest harm befalls the old misfortune. Expelled, returned, burned, died, abandoned. Well, dang, that person had a rough day. Weeping a stream, crying a storm, all's well. Wow. That's deep. I'm going to do that one more time. Weeping a stream, crying a storm, all's well. The king waged war and offered rewards for heads. The wrong captives were taken, no fault. Hey, they're just collateral damage, right? I remember when the phrase collateral damage became like very out there. That was back in the 90s when the Oklahoma bombing took place. I remember, and that's when I used to watch the news a lot. I no longer watch the news as much as I used to, very rarely, and right now it's just snippets that are posted on YouTube. But that term collateral damage was used a lot. That really stuck in my mind. It's really odd how certain things stick. Vicky! Oh my goodness! It's been a minute. Okay, thank you. Laura says, flea combs work well. Wait till she's sleepy. I use tape to transfer the sleeves from comb to tape. It's been a minute. I remember you, Vicky. How you doing? How you doing? Oh, just in case you ladies missed it, what's in your cup today? What's in my cup? Green tea, honey, and a little powdered milk. And this is my china, my porcelain. Uh-oh, what's wrong with her? Oh, do you hear her? Okay. Hold on a second. Let me go check on Callie, and I'll get back. I'm just afraid to let her out the bathroom that she might piddle all over the carpet. Well, as soon as I open the door, she stopped yelping. Okay, let me see. I think I need to figure out eventually. All right, let me see if I have enough room to put her in front of the camera so you can see this baby. All right, before I do that, let me remove the flame. Nala just left. You know, Nala always likes to be in my lap. I came over here with the kitten. Nala's like, I'm done. Here she is. Oh, isn't she a cutie? Nope, she's gone. She's like, oh my gosh. She's a white and kind of a brownish stripes with calico markings. That's my baby, but you can't see her face. Oh, I think Nala is not going to be happy because now she's over here. Oh my gosh, she's so freaking cute. Please don't piddle everywhere. Okay, anyway, let's get back to this. Okay, forgive me. You know, we're having a conversation. It's not just a one-way monologue, so there's going to be breaks. Now she's walking around. Okay, so Benebell Wynn's take on hexagram number 30. Hexagram number 30, emotional attachment, clinging. Oh, and right, and we have Padma Devi, so you can see the fire burning, clinging. And the keywords: fire, illumination, inspiration, devotion, and all-consuming passion, regeneration, spirituality, virtue, enlightenment. The white card is Benebell Wynn's translation of the hexagram number 30, emotional attachment, fire over fire. And I'm about to read it. I hope so, Laura. Okay, so I'm reading what is on the white card, but I'm reading it in my I Ching little thin book that's been translated by Benebell Wynn. It's very thin. It's like maybe a third of an inch. It's part of her I Ching practitioner course at benebellwyn.com, BENEBELLWEN.com. Check out her website. So let's get back to it. You are clinging on emotionally. You hope you can depend or rely on one who you have attached yourself emotionally to. Yet, for the matter at hand, clinging is auspicious. Nurturing and caring for the fertile cow will bring prosperity. Though you cling, do persevere. You must burn with fire from within and not rely on the external burning of fire. The luminous fire must start from within and burn outward. Clinging and emotional attachment is auspicious if the inner fire itself burns bright. So what do I take from this translation? That it's okay to have emotional attachments. Just don't let them be your end all be all. We have emotional attachments in various forms in our life. We have emotional attachments to our spouse, to our parents, especially to our children. But do not allow that emotional attachment external of yourself replace the emotional attachment to you that you should have to yourself. Okay? In other words, nurture the fire that is within you primarily while you're, stoking and nurturing those external fires. And most certainly, do not abandon yourself and simply rely on others to nurture your inner fire. Okay, so now we'll move to Brother Brian Brown Walker's translation. Grand Wednesday, Divine L. Welcome. Check out Divine L's channel, Divine L, and also her other channel where she does daily mission guidance. I think I got it right. Divine Needle. And she does her daily mission guidance at sunrise. And at sunset, her lovely husband comes on and does nightly tarot readings. And sometimes Miss Divine L graces us with her presence as well. Okay. Now I just let Callie out of the bathroom because she was in there sounding as if she was dying. And now she's roaming around the living room / kitchen, and Nala is checking her out. Uh-oh. I just heard a okay, I'm gonna ignore that. It's like Nala, it's funny because Callie was in the bathroom and Nala laid by the bathroom door just listening, just waiting and watching. Okay. So Brian Brown Walker titles this hexagram. Now, if I hear, I'm going to have to put it back in the bathroom. He titles this hexagram, The Clinging Fire. Cling to the power of higher truth is the subtitle. It is in the nature of being human that we are dependent in many ways, dependent on water, air, and food for nourishment, dependent on shelter for warmth and protection, dependent on each other for family life and friendship. We are also spiritually dependent. When challenges arise, each of us must have some place to turn for guidance and support. The image of the hexagram Lee is that of fire clinging to the wood that it burns. Without a supply of fuel, there can be no fire. Likewise, a person without a source of spiritual sustenance cannot give off light in dark and challenging times. I'll try that one more time. Likewise, a person without a source of spiritual sustenance cannot give off light in dark and challenging times. Difficult situations tempt us to doubt the power of humility, acceptance, and correct behavior. Yep, I can definitely attest to that. And sometimes you're in a difficult situation. Whoo, yeah. We long to abandon our inner balance and lash out. It is just at such moments that it is most important to cling to what we know to be good and true and correct. Like fire clings to the log it burns. By doing this, we obtain the aid of the higher power. So, I'm going to stop there. We have one more paragraph, but I wanted to share this with you. So you see this fire right here, how apropos is right there in front of this hexagram, which is double fire. And if you remember from when I read the description of the Bagua, the attributes of this Bagua, heart chakra is the heart. So for fire, the element of fire is connected to the heart. So on the one hand, I think about, what is that? The Sacred Heart. Is it the Sacred Heart of Jesus? Where you always see those images where, I don't know, is it like thorns around the heart, but the heart is on fire? So think about that. Nurture your heart. Return to your heart in everything that you do. Nurture that fire, because it is that burning fire within. Ultimately, yes, we are not a rock, we're not an island, we need each other. Humans are social creatures, and some of us balance between being social and being very introvert. Like I have a delicate balance between being a social butterfly, and that seems to diminish as I've gotten older. I'm more and more really just off to myself, being a social butterfly with being a hermit. or a hermitess. Stoke that fire. And remember I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's been coming into my mind. I'm getting out my tarot cards. I want to just show you. You have the Hermit here, right? You have the Hermit. Whoops! How you doing? All right. I love that phrase. From Friends. So you have the Hermit with his staff and the light box with the glowing star. I really like to see, in my mind's eye, excuse me, hold on. Swallow a little too much air, kind of like have a belch. There we go, trapped right in. I look at this light in this light box, excuse me, it reminds me of our heart, of the fire within. That is our light. And when we've had our time to nurture and stoke our own fire, then we can be ready. And we have to be ready at times, at moments, to go out and share that light with the world. And what is that light you're sharing? It's the light of your own heart. Okay? Okay? So allow your light to shine. Allow yourself to nurture your own light. And those who nurture their own lights, it really comes out in those moments in dark times. It doesn't mean that you won't be sad or have moments of being down, but what it does mean that, you have to go through those emotions, but in your heart of hearts, pun intended, that there's this great luminous light in this fire, and you will rise like the phoenix from the ashes. And as I just said that, I remember the phoenix is the, what was it called? The animal archetype for this bagua. Allow that phoenix to be the light of your heart. You are advised to cling to proper principles now, quietly, willingly, joyfully. Cling to what is superior in yourself. Cling to the possibility of a positive outcome in the situation that faces you, no matter how unlikely it may seem. Cling to the good in others, even when it is obscured by inferior influences, and cling to the power of the deity to deliver truth where it is needed. So, no matter how unlikely it may seem, the possibility of positive outcome, cling to the good in others. Cling to the good in others. Remembering this statement, meditate for, pray for, be Reiki for, be love for. And let me tell you, I know firsthand that when you're in those situations with the quote and unquote other, it is the last thing you want to do is cling to your superior influences, because the ego is screaming and the ego is telling you to justify yourself, to stand up for yourself. And I'm gonna admit it, I do it. And a lot of times I end up regretting it. Oops, sorry about that. My phone wasn't on silence. A lot of times I end up regretting it, because as good as it may feel in that moment when you have staked your claim, when you have ascended the dark side of the moon and taken the banner of your burning heart and jabbed it into that moon, and it feels so good. But then you realize that was so immature. That was so not righteous and not innocent. What do you do in those moments? You can either beat yourself up or recommit yourself to doing better the next time. Life's a journey. Life's a journey. Trying times bring us the gift of showing where our devotion to proper principles ends. Deepen that devotion now. Cling to truth and acceptance and independence, and you will meet with success. And there will be times when you're in those situations where there's nothing you can do, but eventually you just have to go no contact. You have to block all avenues because you realize that communications with someone who is mentally and emotionally unwell doesn't do anything but continue to circle the drain. And you can keep going on that mental, emotional, and verbal merry-go-round. Remember those heavy-duty metal ones with the paint fading off and they're slightly wobbly because you're so old? And if you bend over too close to, say, you tie your shoe and you forget the merry-go-round is going, it's going to smack you in the head. You got to get off and you got to walk away. And you don't be like Lot's wife. Stop looking back. Stop looking back. Stop looking back. All right, so that is that for the hexagram. And let's see, how are we doing with time? We got a good another 5 minutes. We're going to take out our Spirit Keepers deck. This morning, I just received an email from the illustrious Benabel Wynn, and she just set out the link for those of us who ordered the Revelations, her third edition of the tarot deck. In 4 years, I think it's been 4 years, the first one came out in 2018. Now it's 2021. Is that 4 years? Or is that 3 years? 9, 10, 11. I guess it's 3 years. I don't know. I can't count. She just sent out the book of maps, and her book of maps are between 700 to 800 pages. You know, most tarot decks, you get these pithy little white books. If you're lucky, you'll get a little tiny little 1/4 of an inch booklet with a little more meat in it. But with Benabel Wynn, you get like 1,000 times that. And they're so spiritually in depth and, what do you call it? You know, she includes all the correspondences. Oh, I just had a card to volunteer itself from the deck. I don't know if you heard that. It just like shot right out underneath my little altar table here. So I'm going to go ahead and get that card. The Joyous One. 10 of Chalices. 10 of Chalices. This is from the Vitruvian edition. See? 10 of Chalices. See all the imagery there? So I'm going to put down the Hermit and put, let's see, is that gonna, it's probably not gonna sit there. How about there? Oh, holla, there we go. All right. And Benabel Wynn, when she sends out her books, she has a little white book. Then she's got a medium white book, which is 3/4 of an inch thick, a medium white book. And then she has the book of maps, which is the ginormous white book. Okay, so we are in the realms of tens, mounting. So I'm just going to share with you the realm of tens. 10 is the number of transformation. It is the mounting atop a peak, and now the waning or unwinding period down to repeat the cycle in another incarnation. In the Kabbalistic tree of life, the realm of tens arise from the Sephirah Malkuth, the emanation of the material world. It is the concentration of the four elements: fire, water, air, and earth. Malkuth comes not directly from God, but from God's creation. Malkuth is the Malkuth is the tangible form of all other divine emanations. It is the world and condition man has created for himself. So, in other words, Malkuth is like the world and life that we're constantly creating. We're living in Malkuth right now. 10 is the number of work product made by human skill. It is also imitation of divinity. 10 is the future, the next generation. Technology and artificial intelligence are born from the realm of tens. Okay, so we're looking at the 10 of chalices, the joyous one. The joyous one is happiness we have earned. This is the prognostication of spiritual fulfillment. Creativity becomes productivity, and productivity leads you on a directed path toward contentment. The glyph etched upon the large chalice in the foreground is the emblem of the holy womb of the Hagia Sophia, or holy wisdom. The 10 of chalices appearing before you signifies the appearance of God the Mother. The rainbow across the heavens is an omen, perpetual success. See the rainbow back there? This particular deck is in sepia tones. Now Callie is whining again. She's somewhere over there in the kitchen. I cannot see her from my position. Oh, I was looking through my little deck, but I realized this is only the major arcana, so I don't have a tarot deck close at hand right now, but that's okay. You can Google it. Divine L says, I adore Miss Benabel's work too. Yeah. Chalices is an affirmation that your learned skills, intellect, and acumen have matured. The joyous one is the personification of wisdom attained. When this card appears for you, it is an affirmation that the Holy Spirit of your spiritual maturation. The card can also appear to remind you that you are complete, that your life and world is perfected and harmonious as it is right now. That it is not necessary for you to pine for more. Bask in the blessings you have been given. Hallelujah. Where did that come from? Remember our first card? I know some of you, let's see if I can take this off without knocking everything over. This is like Jenga. Some of you might have arrived a little late, but our first card, we're going in sequential order, is Our Lady of the Ripening Vine. And what did the mother say to us in this message? Appreciate your blessings of the now. Don't worry about the future. Don't worry about what's to come. Don't worry about what's gone in the past. But right now is the only thing that matters. And right now, you are greatly blessed. Even if your life has been turned upside down, as my mother says, count your blessings. My mother, when I've gone through some of the most darkest times of my life, and to this point, thank the beloved, to this point, there has only been two major dark times in my life. One was when my youngest son was born, and one was more recently when I had to leave a very toxic marriage. And I had only just recently had gotten married, which was part of the reason why it kind of been on hiatus for the last 2 years. I was in this relationship and it just was extremely toxic. And my mother's always said to me, count your blessings. And I have to say, it hasn't been easy for me. And there's been moments where, yes, I was walking in the superior, in that superior path. And there were many moments where that ego, because I'm a Libra. I'm also a Virgo ascendant, and I got a lot of Scorpio. I got a lot of Scorpio in my chart. So it's funny because I tend to be a very laid back and very open and very loving person. But I also have a lot of mama bear energy, especially when it comes to my children. I will kick ass and take no names for the sake of my children. That's the type of person I am. I was always up at my kids' school. They went to the Jewish day school when they were in the younger grades. And there are times when one or whatever would come home, they're crying, the teacher said something to them, or this happened. I was like, what? The teacher said what to you? Oh, hell no. I'm going, either I would go back up to the school that same day, or I would be on the phone. I want a meeting with the principal and so teacher. Yep, I was that mother. It was so bad to when they, once they got into middle school and they were at an upper middle school, junior high, and high school. Not so much high school, because at that point, if they told me, no, mom, I don't want you to say anything, then I would step back. Ooh, those inferior little things inside me is like, no, no. Oh, I have stories. But anyway, I digress. Um, Emotionally, it hasn't been easy for me, but I've had a lot of support. And one of the things that, has helped me a lot is, like my mother said, count your blessings, count your blessings, count your blessings. And, I always juggle between the superior and the inferior. So when I'm sitting here reading these things, it's kind of like spirit is like, remember, girlfriend, where you come from and who you are. And I just had, it just seems like those moments when everything, it's like, okay, I'm good. I've made peace with these emotions and peace with what I'm doing. And then that other pops back up, and I'm not going to say knock me off my rails, but I forget who I am and I forget my breath, because the ego wants to defend itself. But I do have to say that once I let go of the fear, it's like you forget what your life was before you got into this crazy ass entanglement. Do not become unevenly yoked with the unbeliever. You forget who you were before, and all you can see is what's right now. And even though that right now is painful, is killing your soul, is like energetic vampirism, you forget who you were. But then once you remember and you start, like we were saying earlier, stoking your inner flame, tending to your heart chakra, stoking that, no matter how you were betrayed, no matter how whatever transpired, once you remember who you who you are, not who you were, but who you are right now. Once you remember and you start walking on those stepping stones of the path as it becomes lit up before you, because like the hermit, you're being led by the flame, the sacred flame of your heart. And you're being in the now, as Mother Mary reminds us to be. Your path starts to light up. And instead of sadness, you start seeing all the blessings around you. And everything starts coming in divine timing. And when you're focused on nurturing that fire in your heart, and you're allowing the expansion of your heart to do its thing, things start happening. Synchronicities you're able to pay attention to. And you realize, okay, yeah, this happened. Yeah, this was sad. But look at all the blessings that are happening once I stopped stoking that other fire and started attending to my own fire. And look how everything, I can't, I went from this amazingly physically, it was an empty shell, but it was this beautiful 5,400 square foot house in the middle of a vineyard. And when it was just myself and my son, it was filled with love. But when the other person who, unfortunately, God bless him, just whatever it was just full of anxiety and darkness and shadows. Left that 5,400 square foot house. Now I'm in, I think my place is a little tiny, little beautiful, cute little cottage, literally at the edge of the woods. I'm like right in the woods. I'm like not that far from Main Street, America, but I'm back in the woods, and you would never know that I am right next to mainstream America. And a friend of mine found this place. And then this thing happened and this thing happened, and all the blessings were right there once I was willing to walk away from what was not serving me. Of course, Spirit had to kind of push me, because I'm a very loyal person and I'm all about stoking the flames of the hearth. But I had to remember to stoke the flames of my sacred heart. So I digress and I apologize. But that I say all of that to say, ain't it beautiful how we lead right back to where we were in the beginning? So if we get nothing from today's reading, but nurture your heart, stoke that flame. Divine L says, I went through a very toxic relationship before my twin flame showed up. I'm hoping that means the same for you. Thank you. I can't even, I'm still, things are still legal right now, but emotionally, spiritually, physically, I'm free. And, I'm still, I have to say that the teeter-tottering with the superior influences and the inferior influences. Some days I'm on my A game, and other days I'm just like, but it's very far and few between. 95% of the time I am on my A game. So it's good. Divine L says the same happened for me. It was like they rolled out the red carpet for me when I felt the toxic. Everything just worked out perfectly. Yeah, that is exactly what happened. Yeah, it was all false flags. But, it's those moments, you can't learn this stuff in a textbook. Years ago, it was 2006, and I shared this with you guys before. I had asked universe, Mother, Father, God, Source, Life, what is my purpose in life? And I took my spiritual bath, lit my candle, lit my incense, laid back in the water, and just closed my eyes to meditate. And the phrase that came to me was, help women heal. And I was like, how am I going to do that? Because at that point in time, the only thing that I had done with working with other women was my local Jewish women's New Moon gathering, which was once a month, our Rosh Chodesh group. And so when that phrase came to my mind, I was like, okay, well, I don't know how that's going to happen, because at that point I was an artist and I was a full-time, 100,000% full-time stay-at-home mom. Now I'm still a stay-at-home mom, but I do work for myself at my own office, at my leisure, at my convenience, so that I'm here for my child. So the months that began to follow, Reiki was brought to my attention. After that, reflexology came into my life. After that, I had my fourth child right before I turned 40, and a bunch of hoopla blew up in my life that really put me in this, great learning mode, blessing upon blessing, as I wept those sacred tears. So that was my first initiation. I used to refer to it, if you look back at some of my way older videos, I refer to it as the dark night of the soul that I went through. Is about a 3-year period, and I learned so much about myself. And at that time, I was really able to walk that balance of superior influences. And I really think it was because oxytocin was flowing high through my veins. We're ruled by our hormones a lot. Whether, we are, everything is not just from what we're thinking we're doing. Our hormones play a great role in how we act, react, interact with the world. And, that's the animal instinct part. But we have to use our superior influences to help train those animal instincts so that we become human rather than just fleshly animals. But anyway, and then from there, I learned massage therapy. I led Reiki groups. I started teaching Reiki. I became a Buddhist minister right after the birth of my son. I began that training, even though I was juggling a lot. So life is a beautiful journey, which is my point. And things happen for a reason. And we grow up and we grow into our being when we're willing to face the fire, face the storm, and not cower away from it. Sometimes we're going to need someone to hold our hand. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. When I went through that dark night of the soul, my mother was holding my hand via the telephone every 20 minutes for the first month. And thereafter that, it became every half hour. Then it became every hour. Then it became every 2 to 3 hours. Then it became once a day, and so on and so on. And my whole point is we have to continue to nurture our heart flame, because it is that flame ultimately that is going to guide us. And the superior influences, which is our staff, be here now. Everything is a blessing. Remember the story I shared about the Jewish farmer in old-time Poland during the pogroms, where his son's leg got crushed and he lost his crops because he couldn't harvest it? That was horrible. Was that a bad thing that happened? Who knows how things are going to play out? But when the soldiers came to try to recruit his son to force him into the Tsar's army, he didn't go because he was lame. So that crushed leg turned out to be a blessing. Broken relationships, broken trust can turn out to be a blessing, because maybe they're there to remind you to stoke that flame. And on that note, it's now been an hour and 5 minutes. I love you all. Thank you for being here. And Divine Needle, I'm assuming, you know what they say about assumptions. I'm sure Divine Needle's going to go live sometime today, hopefully soon, to do her daily guidance, daily mission guidance. So be sure to check her out. She laughs and says yes. All right, guys, I love you. I got to get going. I got dishes to do. Please be proud of me. I created 2 giant garbage bags yesterday. One, I finally weeded out my 10-year-old son's old clothes that no longer fits. I'm going to give those to one of my clients who has 2 boys, who one is older than my son, but my son is a big boy. I think he's probably going to be about 6'5". His brothers are 6'2", but he's got a different dad from his older brothers who were from my first marriage. And his dad is 6 feet tall. His uncle's 6'4". Jax already wears the same size shoe that I wear, so I think he's going to be 6'5". So I've got a big bag of his clothes. I got a big bag of my own clothes, and I'm so excited. I'm staying focused. Anyway, love you guys much. Thanks for being here, and I wish you peace and great bliss. And please hop on over to Divine Needle. You see Divine L there? Like and subscribe her channel, but then do a YouTube search for Divine Needle and check out. She's got an awesome voice. Love you guys. Peace and great bliss. Holla.